What's going on, guys? I just wanted to make a video quickly to talk about what's been going on in F1 this week, specifically Kvyat and Verstappen swapping drives. So for those of you that didn't know, in the Russian Grand Prix, which was last weekend, Danny Kvyat had a bit of a nightmare, colliding twice with Sebastian Vettel on the very first lap of the race. And in the aftermath, Red Bull have reacted by swapping him for Max Verstappen for the rest of the season. So from now on, in 2016, Max Verstappen will be driving the Red Bull, and Daniel Kvyat has been demoted back to Toro Rosso, where he started his Formula 1 career. So it's a really big piece of news, quite unsubstantiated really in recent F1 history. I can't really remember the last time that something like this has happened during the middle of a season. One of the things that's going to be interesting now in light of this development is how will this affect the driver lineups for the F1 2016 game that Codemasters will be releasing later in the year. There have been occasions in the past when drivers have been swapped over during a season, but they've normally been due to injuries. So for example, I'm thinking of Felipe Massa in 2009 after he had his big accident in Hungary and was swapped for Giancarlo Fisichella for the remainder of that season. And also in 1999, Michael Schumacher broke his leg at Silverstone, and then Mika Salo took his place for the rest of the season at Ferrari. And in fact, in the F1 game for the 1999 season, Mika Salo would suddenly become the Ferrari driver after the British Grand Prix. So if you were driving as someone like Mika Hakkinen, Michael Schumacher would be racing up until the end of the British Grand Prix, and then to reflect what happened in that season, he wouldn't race again until the Malaysian Grand Prix, so right near the end of the season back then, because Malaysia was one of the last races. So is that something that will happen? Is that something that Codemasters might do for their game? Will they have Verstappen and Kvyat swapping over after the Russian Grand Prix in career modes or season modes, or will they stick with one over the other? Personally, I think that what they should do is stick with the driver lineups for the start of the season. So at the beginning of the season it was Kvyat at Red Bull and Verstappen at Toro Rosso. So I think if you were going to start a career mode, that's the lineup that you would expect to see. I can think of other games when drivers have sort of dropped out halfway through the season. I'm thinking of Juan Pablo Montoya in 2006. He left McLaren sort of halfway through the season, and then Pedro de la Rosa took over. But in the F1 game that came out that year, it was Juan Pablo Montoya was the driver throughout. But yeah, I'll be very interested to see how Codemasters deal with this issue, because are they going to say that Kvyat will be with Toro Rosso from the start and Max Verstappen with Red Bull, or legally are they tied up? Have they got to make a choice one way or the other about who will be driving for which team? It'll be very interesting to see how that pans out when the game is released in a few months' time. Anyway guys, that's it for this video. Thank you very much for watching. I'll catch you soon. Bye bye.
Mercedes have won today.